morning, everybody. I've just voted, and since my schedule is as empty as a hermit's address book, I'm going to take myself down to Tim Hortons in this lovely, beautiful farm setting that I live in, and I'm going to open up my books and do some work on my forthcoming series on Stoicism and Orthodoxy. You're going to have to be patient with me a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how to set up a YouTube channel. I'm a bit of a troglodyte, I'm an old guy. So even just some of the words they use or things that you're supposed to click or whatever, it's like learning a dead language without the Rosetta Stone. So you're going to have to just bear with me on that, okay? I'm going to give it my best shot. I also don't know how to edit anything. So maybe in time things will get better. But for now, you're going to get me warts and all. Just to give you a foretaste of what I want to do, I'm going to start with giving you some history. Where Stoicism came from, what influenced it, how it was a reaction against other philosophies, the place that it actually had in the ancient world, or in the Roman world especially. That's my interest. So its place in the Roman world, how it influenced politicians like Cato, Cicero, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor. He himself wasn't a Stoic, more of a syncretic, but he used a lot of Stoic stuff, and you can read that in his meditations. And even in the modern day, you'll see that cognitive behavioral therapy, a type of therapy within modern psychology, is absolutely and totally based on Stoicism, because Stoicism is a street philosophy. It's a very practical philosophy. I will say it's almost mechanical. But I'll also try to introduce you in further videos, later videos, of what the church did with it. Stoicism was the philosophy of empire. Everybody had those concepts. Everybody was familiar with them. Not everybody was a Stoic, but everybody was familiar with it. Even those men who had left the world and gone out into the Sinai desert and became our great ascetics, our desert fathers, the great mystics of the Orthodox Church, had Stoic principles. And you can even hear it when you go through the writings of the Desert Fathers, or the sayings of the Desert Fathers. St. Paul himself actually quotes them. It wasn't beyond St. Paul to take what was useful, like we talked about with St. Basil, in his letters to the education of young men, and the Egyptian gold. It's the same principle. Remember, St. Paul was the one who said, here you have in Rome the altar to the unknown God. Well, I'm here to tell you who he is. And even St. John, the theologian, when he uses the word specifically in his gospel, logos, he is doing what St. John the Baptist did for the Jews. St. John the Baptist said, "Behold, the Lamb of God." He showed them the Messiah. St. John the theologian is speaking to the philosophers, the Greeks, and he's saying, "Behold the Logos, that which you've always been looking for." Because in Greek philosophy, whether it's Stoicism or others, there was always competing ideas of what Logos was, and we'll get into that. But no one was exactly sure what the Logos was. And St. John says, yes, indeed, here is the Logos. This is what you've been looking for. Because of that, I feel, if I look back at all of the Hellenistic literature, Roman religious concepts, ancient philosophy, all of that seems to be a work in a way to prepare people to accept the Logos, to accept Christ, to point towards Him. It's almost like the pagan equivalent of the scriptures for the Jews. It functioned in the same way. Constantine the Great, St. Constantine, the first ecumenical councils, quotes from the Sibylline prophecies and shows a reference to Christ. So Christ worked within the whole world, not just in the Jews, but the whole world. That's the kind of stuff I'm going to talk about. So stay tuned. Say a prayer too for me that I figure out YouTube. And I'm going to go have coffee and maybe a cheese Danish and delve into the books. You have a great day. God bless.